we are picking up from where we left off last time, in which we are about to head to the scene of the crime to investigate the murder that I committed, to see if we can prove that our client is innocent. But confusingly, they're being accused of 5 kills, 5 murders, when we only killed 4 people. So things are about to get complicated. When I went down to the lower wards last night, I knew what I wanted to find, but I wasn't sure where to look. Now I know where to look, but I have multiple priorities to consider. It'd be nice if I can prove Sosuke's innocence. It won't be easy given they think he killed a cop, but it'd keep me on Ikaria's good side. That'd be nice. Ikaria is the megacorp that has hired us to take this case, because this guy is like the childhood friend and personal bodyguard of kind of their big old CEO type duder, who is also like 12. But what is essential is that I figure out what the hell happened after I left, and whether anyone found any trace that I was ever there. There was a portion earlier where we had to try and clean up, and hopefully I got everything so they don't know I was there. Everything else is seconded.
Sorry, I guess I should have asked before I decided we'd be sharing a cab.
I don't mind. But I am surprised. Did budget cuts take away your shiny patrol car?
Patrol cars are shared, counselor. Any cop can step in any other cop's car, sync their credentials, and drive.
Convenient. Shame you can't personalize.
Yeah, no more dice in the mirror.
Is that why we're in a cab then? Personal taste?
Police cars are full of bugs. Thought you might appreciate the privacy.
Auto cabs are full of bugs too. Little ants and beetles.
True, but there are ways around them.
Are there? I didn't know that.
Yeah, plenty. Can be as easy as flashing a police badge.
Something you wanted to discuss in private, detective? That is pretty unexpected, Sage. Welcome. And thanks, Ravenghoul, for getting me to babysit Sage on this marvelous Sunday.
I was asked to get in contact with you and pass along a message.
A secret admirer?
Certain interested parties and all that, you know how it is.
I'm not sure I do. Does this have something to do with my client's business affiliations?
There would be a lot more blustering if I were to repeat it verbatim, so I'll paraphrase. Focus on getting the best outcome for your client.
More of a reminder what my job description is than a warning.
And don't broaden the scope of your investigation any more than strictly necessary.
Well, I always appreciate kind words of advice, but Detective London, that almost makes it sound like you're on the take.
That's the city, Tiger.
Oh.
I'll have to give myself a promotion.
Yo, Orunner, welcome to middle management. Congratulations.
If you don't take a little, they'll...
Whoa, that was a little weird. Thanks, Orunner.
If you don't take a little, they'll bury you. Alive, if need be.
Why am I rotating so much? Oh, they will? How conspiratorial.
It's not a joke, Morgan.
Do they threaten your wife with Tommy guns if you don't comply?
It's gotten more sophisticated than that. Well, maybe sophisticated isn't the right word.
Sorry, I rotated you by accident. Had to rotate you back. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Most people don't rotate me back. They just rotate me fifth dimensionally and then leave me there, you know? 10 stream streak, though. Thanks, Orunner.
The One Piece!
And the
One Piece is real. Sorry. Complicated might be more accurate, or you could just call it a quagmire. Or even a shitstorm. If you can't get along to go along, even other cops won't trust you. You'll end up shot in the back. Friendly fire. A tragic newspaper clipping.
You're exaggerating. You're telling me the entire police force is corrupt?
Corruption would be one thing. You could, in theory, root it out. But above and below the canopy, it's all intertwined. Every tree stabilizing every other tree. What do they call that? Not parasitism.
Commensalism.
There you go.
I'm glad you're playing this again. It was so much fun the first time. This game rules. I'm so excited to see more of it.
The state pays criminal informants to rat on their peers and lets them keep their positions in exchange. Orcas buy judges and politicians to keep their men out of prison.
Orcas in this case being, what was that a term for? Organized crime guys, right? Organized criminal associate, right? Basically the mob.
Status quo, balancing act, cycle. Stable as any gyroscope. Gyroscope. Euros.
Forgive me if I find that hard to believe. Crime is at an all-time low.
That's not a contradiction. People hate crime. But what gets people killed is chaos. And the opposite of organized crime is...
So everyone's playing nice with each other? Even Detective Reyes?
She's...
What about the man they think my client killed? Did he play nice?
He was a special case. You got the brief. Recognize his last name?
Do I? Oh, not you. Ma'am. Did I get the brief? They didn't give me no brief? Hold on. Convention next month. Oh yeah, there was a convention thing. We read about that. That's London. That's the young master. And that's Reyes. Do I know who that cop was yet? Creek? No. Diamani? No, I guess I don't. It's a big city. I don't put too much stock into last names.
You'll need to break that habit if you continue to work in the underworld.
Sosuke said something similar.
Tariq Chopin, only son of Miguel and Dominic Chopin.
Oh. A cop. With two dads? That sounded like two dads. Yeah, fathers Miguel and Dominic Chopin. Chopin? City councilman. Uh-oh. So this dude getting offed is a bit of a situation if his dads are both councilmen. Happy Pride Month. The power couple? Why would the son of two of our city's most prominent council members be working as a police officer?
You want the full story?
Always. So who was this Chopin, really?
An idealist.
Wrong line of work, then.
You're only half right. When he entered the academy, everyone assumed it was a political move, first step in his career to becoming a senator or whatever. Maybe it was, but anyone who met the guy could tell you he would have made a lousy politician.
You're saying he was honest?
Wouldn't tell a lie if his life depended on it. Guy couldn't do small talk, much less make friends. Talking about cleaning up the city, cleaning up the police, cleaning up everything.
If he was so unpopular, why was he kept on?
No one on the force wanted to risk insulting his parents by firing him.
That's a really great facial expression on London. I don't remember seeing that one before.
Just got passed around from department to department, detail to detail. He did a lot of community outreach.
Community outreach? What, like bake sales?
Like giving talks at schools about saying no to drugs until you turn 21.
That's right, kids. Say no to drugs until it's legal, and then say yes. Yes, I love drugs! Ugh, must have really loved his job to put up with that.
Or he just wanted to prove a point that bad.
Don't you try to save lower wards patrols for the more seasoned, better armed officers?
We gay down here.
We are gay down in the lower wards.
We do, yeah. How'd you know that?
By going to the lower wards and looking at the cops you send there, of course. I read about it in Watch magazine last month.
Oh.
If Chopin was the son of such powerful men, why'd he end up in the lower wards last night?
That... I don't know.
You don't know?
By all accounts, he and his partner should have been at least 2 patrols removed from that area. Must have been following up on some other lead.
His partner, who's that?
The hero who finally arrested the Hound of Icaria. That's who.
I'll have to send him a congratulatory fruit basket.
Huey Rogers. Pretty bare bones record, but maybe that'll just add to his legend.
What legend?
Taking your client alive. Whacked him on the head with his sidearm, knocked him out cold.
Guess it is a small miracle that Sosuke wasn't just shot dead if they thought he killed a cop.
Maybe, but it wasn't pure luck. Only thing that did stick out to me in Rogers' record was his shooting score. 41.
Out of
100. You need 40 to pass. I think someone took pity on him when tallying up his score.
So he's a bad shot. So he whacked Sasuke on the head because he was too bad of a shot to avenge his partner? At least Rogers knows his weakness. Him being a bad shot seems like it's going to be relevant to something later. Remember this! Remember this, chat! We have to remember! The Hound. I keep hearing that name, the Hound of Icaria. I cringe every time. No one actually calls him that, right?
Sorry, but I've definitely heard that name circulating around organized crime before.
I'm doing very gaily today. Oh, good. Must be one hell of a bodyguard to have earned a nickname for it. I'm also doing very gaily today on this Pride Month, on this 6/7 Sunday.
He's a bodyguard? Then, yeah, must be pretty good. Of course, hound dogs are known for other things besides guarding. Sorry, that was, crude.
Don't be sorry. I don't even get enough of the joke to be offended. Yeah, I don't... Is it like a sex thing? Okay, that all makes for some interesting food for thought. It's 6/9 Tuesday in 3 days. The sex day during Pride Month? Oh my god. But Detective London, if you are working for the Blue Bloods...
I never said I worked for the Blue Bloods. It's more of a gig worker type thing, Tiger.
I love when he calls me Tiger.
I'm friends with everybody.
If you are working for the mob in general, then how do I know you're even taking me to the right place and not to...
Whoa, whoa! I may pass a message along here and there, but I'm not... Damn. Hell, no one else is either. Whatever you're imagining, it's not that exciting, I promise.
Not that exciting. Sounds about right. Is it like this in every city? Handshakes and gentlemen's agreements behind closed doors?
You disillusioned?
The state has a great deal of power, Detective London. It makes countless rules. Now, I'm a big girl. I know that these rules don't apply to people equally. And I understand the value of criminal informants and the possible conflicts of interest that arise in trying to keep them around. What I don't get is why the state has all this strength, and it won't use it to just wipe the underworld off the map.
That's pretty cold logic.
I'd expect my state to be far colder.
Hey, you ever heard this one? A politician, a CEO, and a mob boss are sitting at a round table with a gun in the middle. Who are you betting on?
The politician. Politicians are limp-wristed when it comes to their jobs, but they act faster than anyone when it comes to protecting their neck. They'd grab for the gun fast and wouldn't stop pulling the trigger till it clicked.
Not a bad pick. We'll make a patriot of you yet, Tiger. But it's a trick question, of course. Rock, paper, scissors has no trump card. The politician can bring the heavy arm of the law down on the mob boss if he doesn't shoot the CEO for him. The mob boss can have the CEO's family killed if he doesn't blow away the politician first. And the CEO can turbocharge the campaign of whomever the politician's opponent is if he refuses to miss the mob boss.
Yeah, seems like you could make the argument to go in the other direction too.
You could. So the point the riddle's meant to teach is this. Whoever convinces someone else to pull the trigger comes out on top.
Funny. So in the parable you've set up, the gun on the table, that's the police. A blameless tool with no will of its own?
Yeah. Though it was older men than I who set it up.
Didn't realize this country's police were so powerless. However do you manage?
We used to have a partner that helped us out, a tiebreaker. Because all three of those powerful men would be screwed if a journalist told the world they were meeting together.
I've got good news for you, Detective. Journalists still exist. I could introduce you to one. You could even take a photograph.
Oh, I know they're not extinct. People will always write. It's just that no one wants to pay them to. Sorry, didn't mean to talk so much. Maybe it's nerves coming back down here.
What happened the last time you visited?
Something up? Didn't put you to sleep, did I?
No. Actually, your 3-seat table reminded me of an even older thought experiment. If God is omnipotent, why does he allow the existence of the devil?
Even I know that one. To preserve free will or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's the answer most people give. But now I'm wondering if it isn't a rock, paper, scissors deadlock like the one you just described. God lets the devil be so he'll terrify man, and man will always need God's warm protection.
Then God needs man's faith, which can't be compelled. Of course, most people would also say that God's long dead in the 21st century, but we're still around. So that leaves the devil in an awfully strong position, doesn't it?
You always picture 3 men in that room, don't you?
Huh? Yeah, I guess I do. Sorry.
Do 55 feminist rosaries for your penance. Chat, do 55 feminist rosaries, alright? Chat, I need you to do 55 feminist rosaries right now for Pride Month penance.
Chat, do 6, 7, 6, 9 feminist Pride Month rosaries.
6:01 p.m., August 14th, 2086. I swear, I'm not normally one of those 6-7 people, okay? I promise. It's just the date today. It's ingrained, you know. It's infected me in my brain. Lower wards. We'll move on from it. I promise. Unless the game makes me say it. Way ahead of you. Oh, good. Thanks, Orunner. Wait, why were you doing feminist rosaries already? What? Detective London. I was thinking of 3 hot women in that room? Oh, I understand, Orunner. We're definitely not alone down here. But when you reassured your partner that we'd have company, I didn't think you were including blue bloods.
Oh. You know, I'd forgotten to mention...
What? Well, then she's a liar, babe. Hello? Hello? Hello, ma'am? Because I never said that. No, I never said that. Oh, come on, babe. That's what she's like. She lies for fun. Because that's what I call you, babe. It's a pet name. You like it. No, don't hang up. Don't hang up, baby. Don't hang up. Of course I do.
We gotta get to work, hon.
I'll have to call you back, babe. Something just came up. London, what's this? London, who's this?
Counselor Morgan, this is Adelaide Hahn. She's, well, she's a blue blood.
Hey, I'm a perfectly legitimate career woman. You're speaking to a Cyanus security site manager. If you need anything, miss, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Card?
Card. Hello, phone number with a little heart on it. Hachi machi. It includes her personal contact number on top of her work details. For some reason, happy Pride Month. A real business card? That even has a watermark. Tastefulness of it. I'm not familiar with Cyanus. We're a private security and investigating firm. We provide bouncers, armed escorts, we catch cheating partners, find runaway debtors, run paternity tests, that kind of stuff. Sorry, but have we met somewhere? No, it can't be. I'd never forget a beauty like you.
She's the Hound's lawyer, hon.
Seriously? She works for those copper-headed scumbags? So we're mortal enemies? That sucks. Another life then, eh? But I'll still play nice if you will. Let's see. What's she like? New furniture, silk clothes, dimples? Dislikes clingy types, jealous types, needles. Plays pickup games. Avoids laundry day. Least favorite chore, throwing out dead flowers. Oh. Right. So you're private security and you're currently securing this crime scene? Yeah. What's with the tone? What you're hearing is genuine bewilderment. London, why are the police letting blue bloods contaminate the scene where a cop died? Come on, we don't have cooties.
If this wasn't the location where a cop died, we'd have already turned full control over them.
What?
The police contract out the security around crime scenes to private companies all the time. And around here, the private companies best suited for the job happen to be Cyanus. Letting them conduct their own side investigations is a small concession to keep the peace.
A small concession? They're probably in there destroying evidence as we speak.
We have the arcs to preserve the crime scene. They could burn the building down and we'd still have a pristine copy.
If you've forgotten what the ARCS is, it's like an augmented reality crime scene thing.
That's what ARCS stands for.
Which essentially lets us look at the scene at different points in time. You know how it is. Sci-fi, cyberpunk stuff. London Bridges is trying to save face. The police couldn't keep this crime scene off limits without our help, and he knows it. Gremlins would be smashing their shiny cameras and popping their expensive tires around the clock if we weren't here. Lower wards kids take out drones by tossing shoes at them for fun. Is that why you see shoes hanging off of wires? No, I don't know why that happens. No one does. It's a complete mystery.
It's just a thing teens have always done for fun.
Mystery solved? Fine, maybe the cops and the blue bloods are all consummate professionals who never even bicker. But what kind of impartiality can I expect coming in here to defend an Icaria? Well, you might get some ugly looks from those with less chivalry, but no one's gonna get in your way. We know how defense attorneys operate. We know damn well how you usually win. No one's gonna do anything that'll let you worm the Hound out of his life sentence on a technicality. You sure he wouldn't prefer? You sure you wouldn't prefer that, to have him back out on the streets so you can take another shot at him? Oh, so flattery. That's how you flirt? What does that mean? You think we'd ever manage to take down the Hound of Icaria in the street? Shank him in a holding cell? Blue Bloods took him alive just fine the other day, didn't they? Yeah, and look what happened to them afterwards. Sorry, I keep taking pictures of this lady. I'm really gay. So you won't tamper with the crime scene just because you want to make sure the state lobotomizes Sosuke for pentuple homicide? Yeah. I mean, we also literally get paid good money to do these kind of jobs, so we have a reputation to maintain. Rate us 5 stars when you're done looking around, Kay. I'll be sure to leave a glowing review. So this is the main entrance. Front door looks about as heavy as I remember, but, it's unlocked.
What's that?
How was this door found?
Tropin and Rogers were the first officers on the scene responding to gunfire.
Someone heard that? Good thing I cleaned up fast.
Checked the area, then entered through the front door.
The door was definitely locked when I arrived. But I didn't lock it behind me when I left. I didn't have any keys. Admiring our handy behind you by default. You need a key to get in if someone doesn't unlock it for you from inside. A physical key? Physical keys can't be hacked. Or overridden by a police badge. Some people consider those useful features. Is that why the door's ajar? Looks like the lock's been destroyed. Was it found like this?
Yeah, for as long as the ARX has been set up.
Interesting. Trey definitely had to unlock it to let me inside. I didn't think to see if it had locked behind me after I left. In theory, it should have locked behind me, and it looks like someone shot it. Curious.
It definitely wasn't locked when me and Reyes arrived, which was around 10:20 p.m.
Hang on, you and Reyes, what, were you the second officers on scene?
That's right. We weren't far when the 1099-9 went out at 10:15.
What's a 1099-9? Emergency response code utilized in municipal systems around the nation, most frequently to signify that one or more first responders' lives are in danger. Okay, right, because the first cop that showed up got killed, right? Biomonitors allow this code to be sent out across emergency networks automatically when cardiac activity is disrupted or blood pressure changes rapidly. Interesting. Some departments make it a policy to avoid enabling the automatic alert function because there could be a lot of false alerts. That's curious. Long way from precinct 254, isn't it?
We were in the area.
Awkward. You want the tour then? Actually, I'd like to check out the alley first.
You know the crime scene's on the 3rd floor, right?
Yeah, but it has a window that opens to the alley, doesn't it? I just prefer to start from the bottom and work my way up sometimes. She does? Hello? Sure, we can start there. Just be careful where you step, if you like those boots at all. People have been pooping in the alley. Oh my god, alley poop. A data pad. One problem with blue bloods and cops running security, I don't know who to blame for leaving their shit here. I'll give the moral high ground to whichever part of society learns to pick up after themselves first. Were those chips invisible? I didn't see them pop out like they usually do. Bombing ruled out in university fire. Okay, let's see. Panic amount in last week on campus when the computer labs at Nor Technica University were set ablaze in the early hours of the morning. Let's see. A lot of agents descended. The fire has been officially ruled an accident and successfully traced back to a cooling system failure in the basement's main server hub. A freak accident that has provided simultaneous relief and confusion to the community. Okay. First reported similarities to other fires and bombings reported recently sweeping eastward across the nation, dubbed by some members of the press as work of the Witch of the West? Okay. They're targeting data infrastructure? I don't think this is relevant to our case so far, but hundreds of thousands of files related to student debt, all of it non-recoverable. Wait! Whoever did this, if it wasn't a freak accident, is based and, epic and cool. Wait, the fire was awesome. Reaching out to alumni as quickly as we can to try and piece their records back together, but frankly, a lot of them have been less than eager to speak with us, and we may have no choice but to re-examine payment plans for our current students' tuition. Federal agents frustrated with the so-called witch. Criticism of the response began to surface from the political realm, with Senator Colt now formally calling for the Director of Investigations to testify as to the progress or lack thereof in the search for this serial arsonist. Interesting. I feel like I've heard stories about bombings out west the last few months. Yeah, that was just the article we read. But I didn't know they'd all been attributed to one person, or that they're now calling them the Witch of the West. The Wawa? Huh? The Wawa of the Wawa? Wawa-ing in chat? There's no mention of victims, only data centers being targeted. But clearly this witch is hitting someone where it hurts, if they've now got feds involved. What really stands out here is that the federal investigators are getting involved. Most national security agencies were absorbed into the military police complex decades ago. That bureau survived, but it's a mere fraction of the size it used to be and is very different in its function. Their modern reputation is that of attack dogs, deployed by the Senate to make examples of political targets. I can't say I like the idea of them being out there hunting for serial offenders. Yeah, considering I'm a serial offender. Because I keep killing. It's much darker last night than it is now, and I only took a quick peek. But even so, this...
Looks like it's been moved, huh?
Yeah. Was trash picked up last night, perhaps?
Checking the model number on the side. Looks like dumpsters this make haven't been picked up by the city in a decade.
I didn't realize there was a DRM on trash cans.
Hey, it's a heavy model, tough to lift, even if its wheels weren't broken. And designed for containing industrial waste? How it ended up here in a residential district is...
Isn't that hard to puzzle out, is it? It was cheaper for the Megs to dump their shit on us than it was to haul it to a landfill. Is that why I can see markings on the ground there? From leaks? Oh, you really are a tourist, aren't you? I've been in the lower wards before. But only at night, right? Rain's dirty down here. Stains the ground wherever it falls. Acid rain? Like from the history books?
Not quite that bad, just smog combined with precipitation combined with the charms of the city to make...
Dirty rain, like I said. Lower wards spring water. There's a shot named after it. Tequila and pickle juice. Ugh. So is the dumpster empty? Y'all ever had tequila and pickle juice? Someone try that. Try it during the stream, let me know.
Let's see.
Hey, grab a glove if you're gonna.
Yeah, it's mostly empty, except for a bunch of scrap metal at the bottom. Explains why I can't get it to budge.
Careful, you get your toe trapped under there. Don't look at me to help just because I'm modded. Are you saying you couldn't budge it either? Some people love drinking pickle juice. That's true. I could if a girl was cheering me on. Okay, London, thanks. Don't know what I was expecting to find, really. Now, just watch it so you don't. Ow! Wah. Let the lid slam.
Dumpster.
The lid makes a very unpleasant sound as uncovered by Detective London's thorough investigating.
Sorry.
Ouch! It didn't catch him. It was just a loud noise, I guess. I guess that's our only other place to check is the fire escape. It would lead right up to the crime scene. Assuming it doesn't come crashing down once you step onto it. Yeah, it doesn't exactly look like it's in good shape.
It's missing the ladder that would connect it to street level. You're violating fire code with this tetanus trap, Han.
Building inspection's not my department. Besides, who'd want to climb up into a burning building?
Firefighters?
You're funny, Bridges. Even a copper firefighter wouldn't risk getting singed to save a lower ward's property from burning down. Copper? Copper. Derogatory word for automated dependence. Oh! They got slurs for ads. Copper and other terms like it, clanker, chrome dome, microchip breath, to be classified as hate speech, arguing that anti-mechanical sentiment constitutes an expression of prejudice. That's true. That's true. You can't call them that. Don't call robots that stuff, man. It's not cool. Be nice to robots, especially if they're cute robot girls, because if you're nice to them, then you can kiss them. An ad could probably make the jump up there.
Ads are heavy. If an android leaped onto that, the whole mess would probably come down on top of them.
Yeah, rusty, poorly maintained, missing a ladder. One could only freely move back and forth between the third floor room where the bodies are found and the second floor room beneath it. Interesting. Using copper as a slur is so fucked. What if I work in the copper industry? You dirty copper. It's crazy it came back, because, you know, that's what people called police in, like, the 30s if you were in the mob. Yeah, modders are heavy too. Hey! Looks like the only way into the building is through the front door then. Alright, I'm done back here. So I think I've seen everything I... That's right. I was standing here last night when... It was dark and foggy. The kid was too far off to make out my face. Weren't they?
What is it, Tiger?
Nothing. Thought I saw someone out of the corner of my eye, as all.
Yeah? Around here, maybe it was unlisted.
What, you... Those are real?
Keep to themselves, obviously, but yeah, they're real. I've met some. They inform, sometimes, on what they've seen. Never come in to testify, of course. You'd think they'd stand out dressing like that, but... if their camouflage didn't work, they wouldn't be unlisted, right?
What do you mean they keep to themselves? Don't they work with any of the gangs down here?
Sorry, have I gotten your hopes up or something? Trust me, you've got a better chance at winning the lottery than running into one.
Right. Forget I asked. What's an unlisted? Informal designation given to individuals often missing persons or unhoused who are not being tracked in any government database. I see. Undocumented immigration has sharply declined. Let's see. Military service agreement for immigration benefits? That's messed up. Let's see. Today, unlisted mostly refers to small groups of seasonal workers who travel the country in migrating caravans to find work undercutting corporate contracts on various agricultural or fungal installations. Fungal? They're growing mushrooms? Anthropological studies have described groups of unlisted living in urban, generally poorer areas as what are effectively homeless communities. Unlike most homeless people, the overwhelming majority of whom are unhoused for less than 2 weeks, these unlisted actively refuse state housing assistance or assistance of any kind. Concerns about malnourishment, illiteracy, extreme poverty, and rampant mental illness within unlisted populations has at times spurred outreach programs that attempt to contact them, but by their very nature as enlisted, the actual data on their quality of life or cultural practices is virtually non-existent, making most politicians hesitant to commit resources towards these causes. Interesting. You ready to go inside?
I think so, as long as...
No, I'm not with anyone else. It's just me here. Because she's shrill, princess.
And delusional, you know that.
Oh, sorry. And delusional, you know that. I'm sure she'll catch up. Damn, this lady's got, like, buco girlfriends, you know? So you were saying this used to be an apartment building?
Somewhere between that and a long-stay motel, yeah. Blue Bloods didn't deviate far from that model when they took over. They call rooms like these vaults, places to stash away a lover, witness, debtor when there's too much heat.
You've gone through all of these vaults, I take it?
Cyanus helped us with that last night, yeah. Bringing around master keys, clearing out every possible hiding place.
Didn't find a red-handed killer hiding anywhere, did you?
Sorry. No.
So is this the Blue Bloods' forte, then? Securing people, places, and things?
You could think of it that way.
Guess I always assumed gangs made their money through drugs.
Well, the Blue Bloods do deal here and there. But narcotics has been a rich man's game ever since the CDCA rolled in.
CDCA, Contraband Decriminalization Acts. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, rates of addiction and overdose deaths have dropped quite a bit because a lot of stuff was legalized. White wave of global amnesty. Yeah. So, blah, 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 blah.
If you have the funds to ride the gray wave the way the House Sicaria does, you can make a killing. They've got the market cornered from black to gray to white to pure green profit. The Blue Bloods hate that they have to make do with all the scraps the Megs in the house don't bother producing en masse.
Professional jealousy? How ugly. Why can't these underworld overlords just bury the hatchet, get together, and screw over the consumer like reasonable people do?
They've tried, if you believe the rumors. About a year ago now, there was some kind of meeting, an olive branch from the golds to the blues. Apparently the Blue Bloods had a product that the Icaria wanted to distribute. Distribute.
The Icaria sell legal drugs now, though. What kind of product could the Blue Bloods have that the Icaria couldn't manufacture?
Not sure. Maybe that's why it went south so fast. Blood was spilled in less than an hour. The Icaria aren't the type to keep negotiating after being spat on like that.
And so the Blue Bloods remain firmly planted in their lower wards niche.
They might not like having to take the low end, but they are filling a gap in the market. And that's every popper? And that's... and that's every proper capitalist's calling, right? Besides, the workers certainly appreciate their protection down here.
Workers hire Blue Bloods for protection, but all that stuff is legal, so long as they're licensed, isn't it?
Legal? Yes. Respectable? Most would still say no. So, household name security megs consider it too high risk to be seen in the company of workers. Workers being...
shortened form of the term sex worker. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Please sign in to verify your age in order to display the full search results for your query.
Yeah. People are still being dicks to sex workers in the cyberpunk future. That's a bummer.
Doesn't help that their average board member is easily pushing 60 years old.
I swear I can talk. You aren't that far from pushing 60 yourself, are you?
Matter of opinion. Besides, I'm a very modern, forward-thinking man.
Did you finish those 50 rosaries already? Chad, did you? Did you finish your 50 rosaries, Chad? Your feminist rosaries! Did you do them? And the Icaria, they don't, compete in that market?
No. People at the Icaria's heights might patronize a courtesan or two in the Cloud Districts, but they never lower themselves to work alongside one.
No, I'm not Catholic. But you're feminist, aren't you?
Hypocrites.
That much I understand perfectly. The hypocrisy is the appeal for them. The appeal? The appeal! The rules don't apply to me. You couldn't ask for a more pure expression of power.
Damn. Worse than I remember. Like a demon tore through the place. Seriously, what the hell happened here?
That's what we all get paid to find out, right?
Yeah.
I've definitely got a head start on the rest of you, though. Shall we bring up the arcs?
Sure, I'll patch you in.
Allow me! If you're needed on the phone, Miss Han, please don't let me keep you here. Nonsense. I've got all the time in the world for you. Everyone's treating me like royalty today. Hey, arcs time! Alright, let's investigate this crime scene and see if I messed anything up when I did a bunch of murders and then tried to clean up the evidence.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Where shall we start?
How about with the tall, dark, and mysterious in the middle here?
It's your client. He was found standing over Chopin's body by the arresting officer.
Rogers, right? And then he knocked Sosuke out?
Correct.
So why is it this artistic rendition of Sosuke and not a capture from Rogers' body cam?
Well, it seems like at the time...
Their body cam was off. Seriously?
Hey, I'd chew him out myself if he was here with us. It's department policy to have all sensors green when responding to an emergency.
Man, the cops never fucking change, huh?
Oh, enjoy lurking, Raven.
Did all this not qualify as an emergency then?
Chopin and Rogers were responding to shots fired. That's not uncommon for this part of town. For two inexperienced officers first on the scene, it might not have come to mind. At least, Chopin could use that excuse. Rest in peace. But apparently Rogers requests replacement body cams nearly every week.
Okay, if he's that big of a klutz, take away his gun once the city's done throwing him a parade.
I'll, put in a request.
Right then, who's next? Let's see. The window. Windows open to the fire escape in the alley below. There's a thin misting of blood across them. Got a good guess as to who it belongs to.
This is where we found Creek, leader of the pod. Ballistics tell us the shooter was standing in front of the desk.
Near where my client was found.
Your words, not mine. Nasty slug burst in his chest, blew blood back onto the windows behind him.
The open windows.
Hell of a spread.
Yes, it is. Did someone open these, or
No, they were open when we secured the scene.
any fingerprints?
Plenty on the handles there, from Creek and his pod.
That's where the handles are?
Something... sorry. Something wrong?
Yeah, that's kind of a weird place for handles to be on a window, right? Trace back to when a Magus shell split inside of this. Yeah. Okay. Definitely. But how the hell could I explain why I know that? No, sorry, I guess I'm wondering about the keys around his neck and the arcs.
Oh. Well, one was a master key. Could unlock any other door in the building. The other key we eventually paired to a small safe in his desk. Empty, though.
Suppose that's all irrelevant, since he apparently died with the keys on his person.
Yeah. It caught my eye, too, to be honest, but not every detective's instinct pans out.
So who was this guy? It seems like it was a good move to put the keys back after we opened that safe and stole from him.
Curious?
Only professionally. I don't care what he was before I killed him.
Criminal record dating as far back as it goes. Sealed when he turned 18.
What makes you so sure he has a juvenile record, then?
The more experience these guys get, the more time in between their arrests. Pattern I'm seeing, he was pretty damn experienced by the time he was of age.
You trying to compliment him?
I wasn't trying to insult him, hon.
Anything you'd like to add? No, nothing I want to say in front of you two. If you want to say a few words, the detective and I could step. Only words I have are for his killer. I'll deliver them in person, or not at all. Fair enough. Sorry, I need to blow my nose. I'm a little sneezy. One sec. There we go. You have any idea why someone might want to hurt this Creek fellow? That's not funny, that dog you're defending.
It's a fair question, hon. Give it fair consideration.
Besides the Icaria, the Rust, or our city's finest. No, Creek was charismatic and driven. Plus, he made us a lot of money. No true blue would want him gone. The bloodthirsty Icaria soldier he was interrogating, however, probably wasn't a huge fan. What about family? This is getting old fast.
Younger brother's listed as next of kin.
Leave his brother out of this. Hell, leave me out of this. Rooting through a person like you're picking at zits.
Well, seems he's out of town anyway. Taking summer lessons at How Marin are you?
That's a good school.
An expensive school. Younger brother has no listed occupation. Also, no priors, no juvenile record. TAD at his age? Poor kid. Bills for that cost an arm and a leg. Creek must have been sending him...
Detective, did you just leak the confidential medical data of a non-suspect to a third party?
You don't have to report. How about I buy you an ice cream or something?
Bribery too? You're digging yourself pretty deep.
Is it still bribery if I'm the government official?
Okay. Papers scattered all over his desk. Suppose I'm partially to blame. I didn't exactly memorize his setup before I started searching for the mask. What's this?
What do you find there? A note?
What is this note? Oh, it's spelled wrong and then crossed out and then spelled correctly? Handwriting is by and large a match for other documents penned and initialed by Creek found at the crime scene. Okay.
Looks like Creek's handwriting from the other files I've seen.
M. Icaria.
Looks like M. Icaria, actually.
Oh, it's spelled wrong again. He's dead, London. I was gonna let the spelling mistake slide.
Right, but M? That's gotta be Makoto, right?
You know Makoto?
I know he's the Ikaria's heir apparent. From what I hear, he's an appropriately frightening young scion.
He's really quite something.
But why would his name be on Creek's desk?
It could be someone else. If we're being real. He was Creek's real target the other day. Sosuke was some kind of consolation prize. And we do kind of know that from when we talked to the lad. That they were trying to kidnap him, but he got away, and they grabbed Sosuke, because Sosuke kind of gave himself up so that young master could escape.
Bagging the hound was a consolation prize? These punks had their sights set high.
Yeah, like no one taught them not to stare at the sun. She's so judgmental of these guys. I mean, I guess she's got the right to be, because, you know, she does do a lot of killing. Creek's fine wood desk. He seemed particular about it. Maybe in no small part because it had a priceless no mask hidden inside it, but... I assume you've been through this datapad here?
Front to back, but we didn't find anything we didn't already know. Seems like Creek was smart enough to use it for payments and nothing else.
Let's see... Right. Some partials fingerprints are found matching those of Creek and Officer Chopin. Confirm the datapad's locked to Creek. Couldn't avoid touching it. Had to at least pretend the dark card would work. My fingerprints are on this thing. We gotta be careful with that. How do you manage that? Even gangsters need spreadsheets.
Hence the paperwork you see scattered about.
They really did everything by hand?
PPP is what they call it over in organized crime. Paper and pencil protocol. Helps the orcas keep their books off the books. Or at least in a format that's easier to destroy should push come to shove.
Did you run checks on this credit card that's jammed in there?
Not surprised you don't recognize it. That there's a dark card.
Which also has my fingerprints on it. Wow, tell me more. Wow, tell me more.
It's an untraceable wallet in the palm of your hand.
I would hope any wallet could fit in the palm of your hand, Detective. But you really can't find the owner? Can't trace any of its transactions?
Most we can tell is the datapad registered calls to dark card networks at around 9:40 p.m., but it timed out.
What does that mean?
The transfer didn't go through. Either someone got cold feet, or they forgot their password.
Happens to the best of us. Physical card key, yeah. We are familiar with this card key, because it was ours. Only reason I had to take my gloves off in the first place was because of this useless piece of plastic. So we need to try and avoid having the datapad and dark card become important evidence, because if it does, they're gonna find fingerprints on there that we don't want them to find. By the way, why has this cloth been flagged?
Not sure. Forensics just didn't find any blood on it.
Who flagged it?
Lady Rockford herself. Could be that she fat-thumbed it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing. I think that's the cloth we use to clean that stuff. Who the hell? We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I want to check out the other stuff first. The big one. He made a strange face when I shot him and a loud slam when he hit the floor.
This one, real long rap sheet. With a short ending. Buckshot to the torso. Died instantly. Flexware on his mods put his time of death at 9:44. Fjord.
Killed by his own weapon.
Comes up a bit short of poetic justice, but it doesn't look like he was in any kind of struggle for it beforehand. But how'd someone manage to get it off his hands?
It wasn't any great feat, I assure you.
Tex identified it as a double-barreled Mag US and Hey, how'd you know the gun was his?
Uh-oh. Hmm? He's still wearing the holster in the ARCs. Was I mistaken?
No. About a week ago, Tanks here was stopped and frisked by a patrol unit, and they found this here gun on him. They found this here gun on him.
They found this gun on him, and they just handed it back to him?
He bought and paid for it above board.
So this gun isn't jailbroken? You have tag data from the murderers?
No, we don't.
The murderers? Girl, you gotta be more careful with your wording.
Strange. According to the text, the gun is jailbroken.
What happened between last week and last night that he'd get the tags stripped off?
Something that made him think this piece would see action soon.
She's gotta be more careful. Like, I feel like we're really, really skirting the line here. Like, this is dangerous shit. We're too involved in this case, but we also have we can't just turn it down. The mob would wipe us out. This screen, I turned it on to distract Tanks long enough to grab his gun, and I remember choosing not to turn it back off. Interesting setup.
Powerful setup. Was blaring when we arrived. The sound system, I mean. One of the CS texts is a real audio file. He was fucking that speaker real good, sorry. Said it broke her heart how loud they must have blared the speakers all the time. Wears it out, she said.
Does it? It really was giving me a headache when I turned it off. Didn't enjoy having to turn it back on before I left just to leave no trace. I wouldn't count on orcas to value the longevity of their tech purchases. I'm nervous now investigating the scene of my own crime because, oh boy, blood loss from the neck. Even I can tell that much.
Stabbed with a bladed weapon right near the carotid artery. Very efficient. Not the kind of kill someone could make without prior experience.
My client's a humble bodyguard. Come on now, I know you've got a job to do, but you'll shame him if you don't let him take credit for this one. Miller was no joke in a fight. To take him out with one clean stab to the neck using his precious signature katana, the Hound must be itching to brag about it. I'll defer to the medical examiner on this matter, thank you very much.
What do you mean? Sato said the same thing. Katana to the neck, and not so many words.
Is Miller's blood even on the katana? Even if it is, why would a medical examiner assume the katana was used here when my knife is a much better fit for... My knife. Where is it? Where? I gave Sosuke the knife before I left. It should have been found on him when he was arrested. It should be somewhere in the ARCs.
You looking for something, Tiger?
If they haven't found the knife, and I asked about it anyway, that'd mean admitting I know it's missing. If I tell them Sosuke mentioned a knife that only the killer would know about, I'd be ruining my case before we even enter the courtroom. Or worse, pointing the police in the direction of the knife's real origin. No, Was anything found on my client's person when he was arrested? Why did you let Raven leave? I mean, I couldn't, stop Raven. Raven's lurking, not leaving. Okay. Probably going off to do, 50 feminist Hail Marys.
Besides a gun, a sword, and a bunch of blood that did and didn't belong to him? No, not even any lint in his pockets.
He didn't have the knife when they found him? What the hell?
Why do you ask?
No reason. Sometimes you gotta shake the tree to see what falls out. Or so they say.
Oh, you were blindly guessing. I've been there.
Something must have happened to that knife. It couldn't have just disappeared. Not from a crime scene locked down like this. I'll need to find it, but I can't just go looking for it. Is this what it feels like to play with a handicap? I'm telling y'all, this is going bad already. I'm seeing the setup for me to take the fall here. And I mean, admittedly, I did kill 4 people, but not 5.
I'd advise you to brace yourself before opening the autopsy photos for this one, Counselor.
Yes, this is sufficiently obfuscated. A lot to take in. The skull was crushed.
Yeah, but the cause of death was blood loss from a laceration around the neck.
You have to take the fall. The trust fall. Catch me, V.
He hit the floor and bled out in seconds.
Catch me. We can't catch each other. No, we both fell down. God damn it, V.
Everything else you're seeing out there is post-mortem. Overkill.
Not the word I'd use for this kind of shit. Oh, calm down. I didn't do it for the fun of it. In this specific instance. This victim had modded eyes. Seems to me like someone just didn't want to take any chances. Bullshit. No one in the lower wards would get optic mods with recording functionality. You wouldn't be welcome anywhere. Did I spill something I'm not supposed to know again? Morgan? Girl? You gonna claim the Hound Vicaria didn't know something that fundamental? Nah, he bashed his brains in for the hell of it. I'm sure to a law-abiding citizen like yourself, we're all scum of the earth who deserve... I'm pretty scummy myself, hon. Defense attorney, remember? Who the hell deserves shit like this? Deserves? What does that have to do with anything? I just kill for fun. Yippee! I love killing! I take it that this bat is what did the deed?
Matches the splinters found inside his wounds, if you had any doubts.
There's nothing here about Sosuke's fingerprints.
You think we could get anything but partials off of that? It's practically splinters.
Makes sense. I was the one who actually swung it down, and I was wearing gloves by then.
Whoever did this, they were damn enthusiastic. You know how hard they'd have to swing to crush a skull? To break the bat itself?
I can't imagine. Splintered beyond repair. Only partials. But my fingerprints weren't on it anyway, so that's okay. What a pain. There's some faint blood that's been smeared here. Did it belong to this victim?
And Sosuke. I wonder if maybe the bodies hadn't gotten moved around for some reason, but... Your client's legs and feet were soaked in others' blood when he was arrested. They would have had to sneak up on Chopin in order to stab him in the back.
Every time it's that damn bat! He's always putting me in Arkham! Oh! Sorry, that just immediately made me go into Joker mode. Do you think he slid his feet across the ground to avoid making noise?
Does he say otherwise?
I'll let you keep guessing on that one. Mission success. You're trying to get me to do the Joker? What? I've been bamboozled! Oh, Batsy, they're bamboozling me. Help me. Ow. Water. You know, I should have some water. I've been yapping. Water's so yummy. Alright, what else we got here? Through this door is where they were keeping Sosuke, and where I let him off the leash. I'll leave that for after I finish in here. I'm trying to see if there's anything I might have missed, investigation-wise here. Because there was that one little, like, almost secret bit in Case 0, right? In Episode 0, rather, and, now I'm, like, constantly paranoid that there's, like, some sort of secret clues I could be finding, but I'm missing them. Who the hell are you, really? Why are you lying there dead right in the middle of my crime scene?
That was Tariq Chopin, as you might guess, a patrol officer and the son of 2 loving fathers, who've strongly emphasized to the chief of police their desire to see justice done.
This is really bad. I am getting the squeeze put on me from 2 angles, right? My client says he did not kill this guy. I didn't kill this guy. I don't know who killed this guy. The mob wants me to prove my client's innocence, which seems like it should be the case. It seems like he's probably innocent. But now we know that 2 city councilmen want their son's murderer severely punished. This is a really bad situation to be in from every possible angle. Reyes wasn't exaggerating about how he died.
Run through from behind with a sword.
So he would have been standing in front of the desk, and he was impaled. And he collapsed to the floor face first, and the sword
Got stuck in the ground.
bad luck for the attacker, I suppose.
Yeah, Dr. Satos noted in her report that the stab wound was, in her words, jostled.
Pardon?
Like the attacker tried to pull it out, but it was stuck, so they...
Had to jiggle it around?
It's probably what saved Roger's life. Kept your client distracted and disarmed long enough to give Rogers time to rush in.
Allegedly. Not where I left you, that's for sure. And according to Sosuke, the one thing he does recall after I pass the baton to him is gripping his sword. You're not giving me much to work with.
Fingerprints on the grip match your client's right hand, by the way.
Right hand. His right hand. Not you. Damn it, I forgot my client's name. Wait, is it Diamante? No. Is it? No, that's the bar owner. Not London. Sosuke, that's right. His left hand is messed up, so it would have to be his right hand. I'm gonna get, I'm going out on a limb here, but I think he might be left-handed, and I think that might help our case. Here I was getting my hopes up. And it definitely wasn't suicide, because no one else's prints are on the damn thing. Yeah, how would you stab yourself in the back with a katana anyway? Oh, I didn't look at this. The Maglev firearm, modified to an illegal extent. Poor Ligati got the job done. I left it in Sosuke's waistband. And they said it wasn't on him, though, which is strange. Sword. Persona trailer just dropped. Ooh. Yeah, we'll check that out after the after I finish up my my Of the Devil for the day. There's probably some trailers to check out. Let's see. Bladed weapon found at the scene of the crime, impaled on the torso of victim Tariq Chopin. Chop. A little smooch, thanks, V. Right hand of Sosuke Ikaria. No other prints found. Another murder weapon. I had to wipe prints off before taking my leave. It was indulgent, trying to take Trey's head off. It wasn't my only indulgence either. I must have gotten Miller's blood on the blade tip when I dragged it across the floor. Yeah. I blows up? Oh my god. I ruled out suicide once I saw he was stabbed in the back, thank you. Save the link, Kaido. We'll watch it after Of the Devil's done for the day. There are papers scattered underneath his body. Did I knock them off the desk at some point? Maybe when the tall one hit the ground? Or maybe when I was swinging that bat down on... Hang on. What kind of paper is this? I can't read a word. Really? You should get that looked at. My vision's 2020. What am I looking at, Miss Site Manager? Those docs are internal business, ma'am. Nothing to worry your pretty little head over. How do you know they're internal business if we can't read them? You've really never seen red ink before. Never heard of it. It's a corporate information security protocol. Files with special flags trigger specific print commands if you try to make physical copies. Makes it use some kind of special ink. Try to take a photo of it and it comes out in a bright blur. Paper's special too. Too much heat, humidity, becomes illegible. A corpse bleeding out on top of you is a lot of heat and humidity. So these documents contain confidential data that the Blue Bloods wouldn't want getting out? What do they say in the movies? I can't confirm nor deny that. And if I subpoenaed the data? Do your worst. We've got lawyers too. And unlike your client, they've got all the time in the world to stall. Besides, you and I both know exactly what the Hound's motive was. And it isn't written in those pages. It's written all over his busted-up face. Sure, but you won't mind if I copy down whatever I can anyway, right? I wouldn't have any legal reason to stop you if that's what you're getting at. Reading! No, red ink. Let's see. Okay, what do we got? There is required for expansion of eminent domain. Wait, domain expansion? With proper payments to support of construction, re-election, Councilman Long to push for, colloquially referred to as the lower wards. Be vote upcoming. Stress the importance. OPSEC of the highest level. This is something to do with eminent domain, money changing hands, a re-election, and an upcoming vote. This is some big deal stuff. Okay, looks like that's everything in here. Well, I don't envy either of your workloads. It's a mess in here.
It's a lot of blood, that's for sure.
I'm impressed you haven't gotten nauseous, miss. I'd be right at home here if you all weren't poking your noses around.
Shoot, I just remembered. I'll never hear the end of it if I don't check in with my partner after saying I would. You too good to keep going if I step out to make a call.
A call? Is your partner your mom? And is your mom blind? Send a text.
Thanks for your understanding.
Maybe he was the one with the weak stomach. You be sure to let me know if you're feeling faint. I can keep going. We're nearly finished anyway. I'd stick to the arcs if I were you. Nothing behind that door that's better seen in person. You've been such a gracious host up until this point, Miss Han. Why the cold feet now? It's ugly in there. Sorry, some of these... This game's visual design is so good, I can't help but just be like, ooh, that looks nice, and like, want to take a screenshot, right? Like, uglier than this. Different kind of ugly, then. Ooh, now she's looking at me? Ooh. It's all in the eye of the beholder. The beholder. Beholder? You out there holding bees? Sorry, that's a really bad joke. I warned you. Don't worry, I can stomach it just fine. So long as I can understand it. Why did Creek's pod torture my client? I don't know that they did. Sosuke told me they electrocuted him, Han. They probably just grounded him. Low-grade currents applied every few minutes. Stops most mods from rebooting. So no SOS pings, no adrenaline bursts pulled out of his ass. And the pliers, hammers, and syringes, what purpose did they serve? They could have just killed Sosuke when they failed to nab Makoto. Instead, they dragged him down here. Why? Try and get info on Makoto's itinerary? Good enough intel to make another run at him? If there are any answers for me in here, I'll need a grout scraper to find them. Has all this blood been tested, Miss Han? Enough of it has. Besides Sosuke, who else would it belong to? That's a bit lazy, but it's not as if there's more here than last time I visited. Sosuke really did lose a lot of blood. By the time he stumbled out of here, a stiff breeze should have been enough to knock him over. Is he really such a badass that he still managed to take out a police officer before he'd even noticed? It's not as if I feel nothing, looking at someone else's handiwork, the product of their violence. But it's like an artificial sweetener. No complaints for that first instant. Then the aftertaste comes. Empty calories. I'll just be hungrier again later. Faster. Best to stay disciplined. Yummy blood. Oh, yummy blood. It's water. Cold enough that condensation's on the outside of the bucket. Is that water for sponge baths? Just a simple way to keep a guest from dozing off. Temperature shock makes caffeine look like a sleep aid. This coming after you claim you don't know if Sasuke was tortured? You know what that other bucket's for, then? I know you said you've got a weak sense of smell, but do you really need a hint here? But then this last bucket here is... What is that? Trash? Cloth and rope. Bindings. Or bandages. See? They were nursing him back to health. I'll run your theory past Sosuke next chance I get. This must be what's left of what they were keeping Sosuke tied up with. They would have had to use something. Yeah, this door doesn't even lock. Not after I moved the bat, barring it from the outside. So he was brought here, tied up, questioned. Then he breaks out, bursts into the next room, cuts up 2 of his captors, and blows the other 2 away. That's what you think happened? That's what it looks like. And then what? Chopin runs in, turns his back on a violent criminal? Don't strain yourself trying to make it sound improbable. Cops are dumb. If the Hound crouched in a corner, he'd have his chance soon enough. Hell, he'd probably just played dead. Walking into that scene out there, you'd think some patrol officer would go around checking pulses. Why would my client go to all that trouble to get the jump on an officer? Why not just run away? Hell, why not ask him for medical treatment? Because he was standing in the middle of 4 men he'd just killed? Ugh, I know that Sosuke had no logical reason to attack Chopin, but so what? Even Sosuke himself says he would have been acting on instinct. Would instinct tell him that Chopin was in between him and his escape? It's nasty business. I still don't quite understand what happened here. This room's not giving me a lot more to work with, though. Hypodermic needles, probably not packing anything healthy. Sosuke better hope they were at least sanitized. I'm not sure Sarah can treat an infection with gauze and rubbing alcohol alone. But those needles there... The design of these needles seems a little odd. Well, someone will tell you sooner or later, so... They're projectiles. Load them into a gun and fire away. Oh, those are the tranquilizers that they fired on Sosuke and the young master. Sosuke was captured by men wielding needle guns. It's true, they were wielding. Oh, you know what? Another bad sign for me, though, is the cut bindings are clearly cut with something sharp. And I have a feeling the knife makes sense for that, because that's what I used. Yep, that's right, Kaido. Throw garbage at my head. Does Cyanus have security have any peacekeeping tools they'd like to disclose as having recently gone missing? You're cursing up the wrong pipe. Creek would find tools all on his own, and we're not that kind of operation. An operation where the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing? More like, the right hand's just been washed, so if you have to handle some garbage... Cyanus is that legitimate? Why aren't all the blue bloods working legal jobs, then? Not enough positions available. You gotta earn like hell to be considered for a job on this side of the fence. Creek and his pod weren't bringing in that kind of money. They liked Creek's pod where it was. Who's they? Upper management? Oh god, what did I even do for Creek's voice? I don't remember this point. That mask is a death sentence, crafted specifically for one very special customer. I'm just the one given the honor of hanging on to it until... And did upper management like Creek? I'm just a humble site manager, miss, I wouldn't know. Sure. So do all these needles contain anesthetics? No. There's also stimulants and barbitocene. A hypnotic sleep aid drug for active duty military personnel. A truth serum. Never been shown to function as such in a controlled setting. Oh, okay. Yeah, when sampled against liquor ranging from 40 to 80 proof, it resulted in truthful confessions only 0.2% more often. Yeah. See who has me muted on social media.
Computer, tell me who doesn't like me on Twitter.
Like the truth serum? You can get sued for selling it as such. It makes you talk. Doesn't make what you say the truth. So they wanted Sosuke talking, but what did they ask him? If your client can't remember or isn't willing to recall, there's really no one else alive who would know, yeah? I'm getting a headache, but it's not from anything sensory. I should know more about this crime scene than anyone. Why can't I piece it together? If I can't piece it together, the cops will never trace any of this back to me, right? So why do I feel so ill at ease?
Okay, thanks for your patience, ladies. Did I miss anything?
Nah.
Oh.
Would you have felt better if you had? I'm going to head out now, actually. I've got a long day tomorrow.
You're going back by yourself, then? Are you sure? I could get you a ride out of the neighborhood.
I'm sure Miss Han here has already made sure that we'll both get out of here without any trouble. That is her company's area of expertise, isn't it? Of course.
Well, at least let me walk you out.
Sure, why not? Safe travels. Taking pictures of the pretty lady. So, Detective, there's something you didn't want to talk about in front of the professionals at Cyanus Security?
Thanks for picking up on that.
Reyes will be upset that you never checked in.
Yeah, right after this I will.
This room, are we directly underneath the crime scene?
Yep. Same fire escape right there.
Same type of window, too. Has this room been scanned into the arcs?
Yeah, but no one found anything noteworthy. Except Cyanus being sloppy.
So what were you actually doing when you left Han and I back there?
Something Han said earlier about how no true blue would wish for harm on Creek. Her phrasing stood out to me.
Because it implies the existence of false blue bloods?
Because it reminded me of one of the first things I learned in this city. There are no monoliths. Megs, Orcas, City Hall, there are always factions. And among the Blue Bloods, the party lines are especially visible. So I made a call, not to Reyes, and confirmed some things.
And?
And I figure I owe you a little hint or two, considering the tone of the last message I delivered.
That message warned me not to broaden the scope of my investigation. Getting hints from you might be self-defeating.
Not these hints. Trust me.
Does he know? So what faction did our pal Creek belong to?
The Youngbloods. Opposite end of the compass from the old guards. The conservative Blue Blood leadership. All of them older than 70, some of them pushing higher than 90. Han said Creek was too useful for anyone to want dead, but my sources don't agree. Creek talked. Said things aloud that the others only whispered. Ambitious, charismatic, up and coming.
Yeah, we could tell when we were interacting with Creek, he seemed really concerned with getting his group into the good graces of the Blue Bloods. They wanted to go legit. They wanted to move up. And young.
Could easily see him being very unpopular with all the wrong people in the old guard.
That's interesting info, Detective, but it doesn't exactly flip this case on its head. I already know who killed Creek. The police have already decided it's Sosuke. Learning that he had some occupational hazards will hardly convince the jury otherwise. My client's the one standing accused, and everyone already knows why Blue Bloods and Icarias would want to kill each other.
Do you?
They're rival gangs. They hate each other.
Do you know why? It's the same reason all the Blue Blood leadership is ancient, while all their muscles made up of orphans and delinquents. 30 years ago, the Icaria betrayed their peace with the Blue Bloods, started killing them. And they didn't stop for days. By the end of it, every single member of the leading Blue Blood families under the age of 40 was dead.
Well, I can see how their kids would grow up to hate the Icaria, yeah.
You're not getting it, Tiger. Their kids didn't grow up at all.
That's why they're all old, if that's the case. How are the Blue Bloods still around?
For one thing, the Icaria had bigger fish to fry. This was right before the Red Decade. They spent every second of the next 10 years positioning themselves so they could come out as the
Let's reboot my brain and try that again.
They spent every second of the next 10 years positioning themselves so they could come out the other end as Neobility. Second, what remained of the Blue Bloods found a new niche to fill. Taking in delinquents furious at a country driven off a cliff by adults before they could even get a chance to vote. Blue Bloods swelled their ranks to new heights by looking out for the little guys during those years, in exchange for favors down the line. Lastly, and most importantly, they survived because they still had hope.
You serious?
I am. It's a powerful weapon.
Hope for what?
Hope that the Ikaria had missed one, that they'd fled the country. Hope that a promised heir would grow strong and return one day. A triumphant little lord with overflowing riches and overwhelming power.
Sounds like a fairy tale.
Those endure for a reason. Well, now you know. A warning to watch where you step isn't exactly worth much if you're fumbling around in the dark.
Fairy tales and warnings.
What's up?
Hey, you ever pay attention to any of this graffiti down here?
Scrawlings about Lobo, and the cyberpunk, and HBK increasingly.
I haven't seen that myself. I was gonna say Red Hood.
Why are you asking? You feel a chill down your spine? Except for HBK, that's all old news. Ghost stories and campfire tales.
There are a lot of campsites around here.
Lots of places to start fires.
Good exchange. Good lines. Wow. Good dialogue. Good writing.
But Red Hood, haven't heard of that in who knows how long. It's one of the oldest. Rough story.
It's based on a real event?
Yeah, the Joker killed one of the Robins, and then he came back later, but he was all crazy, and Batman beat him up, and now they're like friends, and sorry, nothing worth recounting.
I'll take your word for it. Hey, did you or your pals in OC ever hear about some kind of blue blood hunter?
Like a bounty hunter?
Or huntsman, maybe?
Where'd you hear that?
Sosuke thinks he might have overheard talk of something like that while he was in captivity. Does it mean anything?
Nope.
I don't like the hesitation there, detective.
Just an urban legend.
I would have said the same thing about Unlisted before this afternoon, and yet...
Fair enough. If you see a huntsman and live to tell the tale, I'll buy you as many lotto tickets as you want. But what's gotten into you that you're feeling all superstitious? Guilty conscience?
Does he know? You mean about working with the Mafia? A psychologist would call that projecting.
Ouch.
Too far?
No. Didn't feel a thing.
I don't know why I asked, really. Guess I've just had an odd feeling all day.
Like deja vu? You been here before?
No, I hate that feeling. It's whatever the opposite of that would be.
The unnerving certainty that you're in uncharted waters. Scary stuff.
Oh. 8:32 p.m., August 14th, 2086. Morgan's apartment. We're back home, huh? Ikaria, Blue Blood, Megs, Orcas. Dirty cops and criminal informants. Lines drawn back and forth across a battlefield like a spider's suspension bridge. Dizzying in its complexity, frail along any given strand. But one wrong move and you're completely ensnared. Priorities. The Ikaria don't care about who tore through Creek's gang, but they would prefer Sosuke doesn't spend life in prison for killing a cop. The Blue Bloods want to tear Sosuke's throat out, but if Han's taken at her word, they're settling for 5 counts of murder. Can I take Han at her word? Is she a young blood like Creek, or is she with the old guard? Could I have asked London that? If I had, could I have trusted his answer? Because it turns out Kasim London is much, much harder to read than I anticipated. Yeah, I thought I understood London. Now I'm not so sure. I can't even trust my client to act in his own self-interest. Man's a bodyguard by trade and a zealot for his house. It's just a really cool scene back there. Trial starts tomorrow. Do I still need more information? Is there time to find it? No, what I need right now is a nightcap. If I can't fall asleep, then I'll know I'm in trouble. Until then, guess sleep will have to wait. It's unlocked! Pardon me for dropping in at such a late hour, Counselor Morgan. Standing there in my doorway, she cut through the light like a blade of spilt ink. But twice as sharp, and not nearly as familiar. It is outside of normal consultation hours, miss. She purses her lips, like lily petals shying away from the moonlight. What's a smirk by any other name? Please, call me Mireille. Any last name, Mireille? The question floats in the air like curling cigarette smoke. I could tell she was used to the smell. I'll leave that up to your imagination. Self-assured and unapologetic, the unspoken family name as loud as a signature, written in blood. You're from House Icaria. Might I step inside? She blinks, her head turns a millimeter. A forked tongue testing the temperature of the air. She wasn't asking for permission. Just you. What about your friends in the hallway? She raises an eyebrow, but keeps staring at the floor. She's surprised at my perception of the unseen threat, but not quite impressed. I don't think they need to join us. Do you? She was the kind of woman to make you remember. Smoking could kill. We're full noir mode now, baby! Or we were. I guess we're out of it. How can I be of service, Mireille? Oh my god. I might want to smooch her. You're already being quite accommodating, both to me and my family's interests. I came here tonight to be of service to you. I understand that you're somewhat new to this underworld of ours. I'm grateful for the offer, Mireille, but inexperienced as I am, I've gathered that the House Icaria didn't come into its fortune by being generous. Would you like to know how House Icaria did come into its fortune? I know you operate a lending corporation with a significantly diversified portfolio. Yes, the good old IFG, the public face of the Icaria criminal empire, clean-shaven as it's become. And I know you founded a pharmaceutical company and profited immensely when it went public. And before that, I know your family became neo-ability during the years of civil unrest. No doubt by being well-positioned when the time came to reprivatize our nation's industries. Yes, and before that, I know you slaughtered the Blue Bloods 30 years ago. Very good, Counselor Morgan. You've acclimated to our waters remarkably fast. What I don't know is why Makoto Icaria has been the target of multiple kidnapping attempts over the past year. You can't fathom a guess as to why the Blue Bloods might want to ransom the family's heir. That's the only guess I can make. It strikes me as shallow. Nothing more dangerous than the waters you don't know the depth of. Let's try that again. Nothing more dangerous than waters you don't know the depth of. As you said 30 years ago, the Icaria cartel, an unrecognizable band of brutes and drug smugglers compared to today, massacred the respectable Blue Bloods and left their geriatric leadership to die on the vine. But we thrust the knife much deeper than that. You went after their heirs, and their entire future. Are you familiar with genetic factor authentication? Using DNA as a password? Blood, specifically. Easier than memorizing a string 3 billion characters long. But GFA has fallen out of favor, hasn't it? Only conducted in person, sample acquired by a trained on-site professional. Cannot be bypassed or hacked in any traditional sense. Largely unadopted throughout the business world. Yeah, that makes sense. Still offered at some of the most prestigious and secure banks in the world, and families with particularly long lineages have been known to favor GFA for what are effectively symbolic reasons. That makes sense. GFA remains accessible to any past or future offspring of the initial registries. It is sometimes offered as a wedding or baby shower gift for couples intending to set up trusts. Interesting. The Blue Bloods made ample use of it back then. A bad bet. They already had all their offshore accounts, business titles, property deeds. The Blue Bloods thought they had already won, but they were establishing a dynasty. So as they made their political marriages, they bound their alliances and fortunes in literal blood. GFA was both a financial and symbolic laundering of the Blue Bloods' past. Their children, now married, clean-cut, and perfectly respectable, would prosper alongside wealth no longer tainted by ill-gotten gains. So that GFA registry became the Icarius checklist. We went through and crossed out anyone that could have accessed those funds. Really like this facial expression here. Now all of it sits untouchable overseas in encrypted digital warehouses, and some of the oldest, most austere banks in the world, collecting interest that will never be claimed. Does that answer your question as to why they'd target Makoto? No, and you know it doesn't. Because if they thought they could lock you out of your coffers by killing Makoto, they wouldn't be trying to take him alive. Makoto is not an Icaria, is he? You're paying attention. I like that. We don't use GFA, and Makoto is heired House Icaria, to the Icaria Financial Group. He'd never be tied to our legitimate banking information. Why not? What if he wants to buy a lollipop? A lollipop would be provided for him. The family's black market proceeds and its white market holdings must never mix. You divided your house right down the middle. Pardon the expression, but how can you stand? Hey, Kazalotl, welcome. We investigated the crime scene and made a few little verbal slip-ups that might have incriminated us as the killer, but hopefully we got away with that. Now we're being visited by someone from House Icaria. Say that again. Slip up? Atop the backs of many. And you all take this division that seriously? Deadly seriously. That is our family's rule, dating back centuries. Either you serve the house, or you serve its interests, never both. So you're assigned to either the criminal organization, what's registered as the IFG, or to managing the family's legitimate business holdings, like Renogen. But that means you are nearly as much of an outsider to the Icaria Financial Group as you are. Nearly is doing a lot of work there. Who do you answer to then? Who controls the Icaria's legitimate empire? Until Makoto marries, his mother. And I take it Makoto isn't solely responsible for the house's affairs at his age? Makoto wields great authority as the heir, but yes, the house is led by his father Raphael, and more directly, by his grandfather, our patriarch, Daisuke Icaria, who we briefly ran into. I see. But that puts me back where I started. The Blue Bloods went to hold Makoto hostage to gain leverage on the likes of Daisuke. How can I put this? Had things gone even slightly different 30 years ago, the Blue Bloods would be the ones shaking hands with politicians, marrying ambassadors, and sitting in boardrooms. Some of them believe it can still be so, if the right match were made. They want to marry into House Icaria? But Makoto's and all the real Blue Bloods are older than... They'd find an age-appropriate adoption. You're missing the point. They need Makoto alive and well to negotiate that kind of reversal of fortune. So they've been trying to capture him for the past year. Okay. I was wrong. I thought maybe he wasn't really an Icaria. Or maybe, like, one of his parents was actually from the other family, from the Blue Bloods. But I suppose that must not be the case. But every Blue Blood I met today seemed to care a lot more about getting revenge for their dead men than kidnapping a preteen. How many of them do you think Sosuke's cut down in the last year he spent repelling their attempts? Is that a source of internal conflict? If the old guard are throwing young bloods into an Ikaria shredder en masse, trying to capture Makoto just to elevate themselves, I suppose that all might total up to enough motivation for them to torture Sosuke, yeah. I had heard Sosuke was wounded. No one informed me that he had been tortured. You know him, I take it. As you've gathered, Sosuke deals in matters unrelated to my side of the family. But he is still family. Speaking of my side, I have a duty as a representative of my wing of the house to stress that we do not want this trial to be prolonged. So the bean counters don't care for the extra attention, that makes sense. Do you care about the outcome? A win is always preferable, but not a necessity. Makoto Ikaria hired me to prove Sosuke's innocence. If he's the one signing the checks, did he say why he hired you? He hired you for 2 reasons. Reason 1, his options are limited. More limited than he suggested, no doubt, to keep a strong front. The entire house is currently being audited by the state. Our usual legion of lawyers and accountants are already billing hours as fast as they can, so he couldn't have his pick of the litter. So one half of the family can't talk business at the dinner table with the other half, but you share a pool of lawyers? The Xbox thing is happening? Yeah, I'm not covering the Xbox thing on my stream because the boycott against Microsoft is still ongoing due to, all the stuff going on with Israel and Palestine and Gaza. We don't support any genocides here. So I might check out some trailers after we finish Of the Devil today, but I'm not watching that live. Lawyers can be trusted to be discreet, can they not? Yeah, we can read between the lines. Didn't know there was a boycott. It's okay. It was like going around a lot a while back, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize that boycott's still ongoing, but it is still ongoing. It's okay if you don't know. It's okay. It's okay. Now you know. So then you'll understand reason 2. Whatever lawyer he did find through the Ikaria's usual connections would, like me, do whatever's best for the house as a whole. And not what's best for Sosuke. I'll make an amendment. 3 reasons. Makoto knew that if he didn't assign any lawyer, Sosuke would just stay silent as the state dragged him off to be chained, rather than inconvenience the house any further. Well, yeah. I've known Sosuke for less than a day, and even I can tell he's never seen a cross he wouldn't jump at the opportunity to bear. That explains why Makoto would hire someone without connections to the Ikaria. You slow-rolling another addendum that'll clear up why on earth my name came across his desk? Littered with crayons and times tables, I'm sure it was. I hope I've been able to elucidate matters for you, Counselor Morgan. Masterfully subtle way to say we're done talking. Now I might ask you a small favor in return. Pass this message to Sosuke. If you see a way out, take it. Do you understand what you're asking him to do? Even if Sosuke took a plea bargain, even if I somehow got the other charges reduced to manslaughter, self-defense, the state thinks he killed a cop. The message is for Sosuke, not you. Your interpretation of it is irrelevant. End of conversation. As she reaches the exit, she turns back to look at me, lingering in the doorway like the warm buzz of a strong, dark cocktail. But your assessment is correct. If this were just 4 dead blue bloods, our dim little underworld could balance out the ledger unassisted. If that cop hadn't shown up last night... Do you know something about the late Officer Chopin? City in mourning after death of City Councilman's beloved adopted son in the line of duty? All I know is that his funeral dirge will make those 4 boys' deaths sound like a disinterested sigh. By the way, I must admit you have a lovely apartment, Counselor. Changing subjects as subtly as a bullet train hopping its tracks. Quite spacious for a defense attorney. Yeah, place wouldn't sell after the tram route got diverted. I negotiated down the rent and then installed all the soundproofing myself. Can't open the windows without being treated to the sounds of the city, then. There's always a cost. That's one mystery solved, then, isn't it? Enjoy the rest of your quiet evening, counselor. And the door glides to a close behind her, easy as a question left unasked. I'm left here hanging on a single held breath of stillness, listening as the defeated thud of her honor guard's implied violence stomps down the hallway behind her. Yeah, I get you, Kazlon. I also love pirates. Yo ho ho. But I like supporting, folks who I can. I was still leaned back in my chair, staring holes into my ceiling long after the scent of her expensive tobacco had faded into null. Savoring it while it lasted was beyond me at the moment. My attention's elsewhere. This case is knotted and twisted like a gnarled oak. Just when I think I've found my rhythm, the blade runs dull. Carving is an exercise in patience and vision. You need to start with a clear picture of what you want. I want some answers. But for now, I'll sleep. Tomorrow in court, I'll just have to keep whittling away at the wood until I fashion something halfway usable. And well, if that doesn't work, I'll use a chainsaw. Hey, cool kid. Yeah, you, trying to look all stoic, staring out the window. A little late to try and look detached after that thing you pulled the other day. So that wasn't a joke? Making that announcement in front of the class? You trying to start a detective club or something? What mysteries? Disappearing cleaning supplies? Books not getting returned to the library? Sounds lame. No, not like that's your fault. Everything's lame. Good luck finding members. Everyone around here already knows what they're gonna do after school. And tomorrow. And next year. They're all staring down the barrel of a lucrative career and telling other companies how to provide web services or whatever the hell this school's supposed to train us for. A lawyer? If you say so, cool kid. The Megs will probably have robots doing that by the time you graduate, but sure. Law school's supposed to be hard to get into. You'll need a record that doesn't suck. Getting the club you started shut down because you couldn't get anyone to join probably won't help. Wow, so confident. You really are a cool kid. And that's where we're going to stop Of the Devil for today. Next time, we're going to court. And we're going to try and prove our client innocent without accidentally proving that I was the murderer. Yowza!